Hi, welcome to the Fireside Chats that'll take us from Thanksgiving through Christmas. Today, Thanksgiving. The words for Thanksgiving this year that I'm thinking about are Paul's to the church in Thessalonica, where he tells them to give thanks in all circumstances. The reason I'm thinking about this is because right now my traveling companion through the Bible is Joseph, Old Testament Joseph, not Mary's husband. You know, the guy in Egypt where he gets thrown in prison for doing the right thing. And then after he does the right thing again, gets forgotten there for 2 more years. So often circumstances dictate our gratitude. We are grateful for things, for food, for shelter, for family, for friends. You get the picture. But some circumstances are not conducive to Thanksgiving, being sick, grieving. I find it helpful to remember that Paul's words to the Christians in Thessalonica are a reminder to give thanks in all things, not for all things. Not all things are worth giving thanks for. But the other thing I think about with Paul and circumstances is that handling circumstances is, for Paul at least, a learned behavior. When he's writing to the Philippians in chapter 4, like verse 11 or so, Paul talks about how he learned to be content in various circumstances, good circumstances, bad circumstances. It was a learned behavior. So if Paul learned it, so can you and I. I think what Paul figured out how to do was to reframe his current circumstances in light of his status, his being as a child of God, that he was loved, he was forgiven, he was redeemed, he was adopted into God's family. That's the same faith we have. So we have the same identity. So you and I, we're also empowered to view our circumstances in light of our status, as children of God, well loved, completely forgiven, fully redeemed, and absolutely adopted into God's forever family. I learned this early on in my ministry here at Christ Our Savior when Harold helped me understand how to listen to criticism. There were some rough years at Christ Our Savior, and I had some learning to do. And it was a hard time hearing the critics. But my status, when I wasn't just fragile because I was thinking of myself as a pastor only, but as a child of God, allowed me to be quiet and to listen, to actually hear. Um, the status without that, my first thought was I need to deny this. I need to deflect this criticism because my ego felt attacked. Now, I have to tell you the truth. I never give thanks for criticism. I just am not that spiritually mature. But I can give thanks for critics. Because what a critic really is someone who cares enough to talk about what's wrong. And those folks back then helped me grow into a much better pastor. Look, I hope your Thanksgiving is amazingly pleasant. I hope that you have a simple opportunity to give thanks for all the blessings you have, whatever your circumstances. But if not, you and I, we still get to practice gratitude. We get to practice gratitude for God's affection, for our status as children of God. That's what empowers us, along with St. Paul, to give thanks in all circumstances, even when they're unpleasant. Happy Thanksgiving.